What's up, YouTube? This video going to be about Walter Fenner, also known as Buck Leonard, one of the greatest Negro League players ever, who was a Major League Baseball Hall of Fame introduction when they started doing one of the first opposition players. He was put in the same time as Satchel Paige and Josh Gibson. That should tell you all you need to know. And when people try to act like Major League or so-called Pro Bowl, the records are the end-all be-all, well, Negro League stats tell a different story because his stats held up all across the board. He played 17 years for the Homestead Grays, and he happens to turn down a contract with the St. Louis Browns, later became Cardinals in Major League Baseball because he was older, but he stayed in the Mexican League and played till he retired in the 50s. But he was a guy who was considered called the Black Lou Gehrig, which let that sink in how great Lou Gehrig was and how he was known for his consecutive game record and his hitting. But some people say Buck Leonard was even better. And playing with Josh Gibson, but he had his own way of making himself heard and felt as a player and as a hitter and as a first baseman, because they said he was even better on his defense with his glove. You know, when you research the Negro League historical, especially the greats, and there was a movie called Souls of the Game, which came out back in the 90s, which I watched a long time ago. These players were as great and better than most of the stuff that was going for so-called professional baseball, Major League Baseball, but not getting the opportunity. And Buck Leonard turned it down, as a matter of fact, because he was pushing 50. You know, at the time when they finally called him, he said he was too old to go up there. Well, he had already proved himself. He had nothing else to prove. You know, he'd already showed that he belonged on the big stage. It's just that their racist ways and their agendas did not want to accept him and bring him into the fold. But he was very much a guy that belonged on it, though. Very, very much so belonged on it, you know. So it's one of those things that hindsight and you look at and you kind of ask yourself, like, wow, how come this wasn't this? Why wasn't it that, you know? And it just one of those things. But, um, you know, he left a lasting impact. He was a strong hitter, versatile, aggressive, you know, all the things that when we talking about what makes great baseball careers, great talent, he displayed all that. He displayed all that. He earned the respect, you know. And that's the thing. See, just because they don't be there don't mean they're not watching. People be very surprised when these cats were in the leagues just dominant and doing things. And once after Jackie Robinson came up, of course, they want let's go get others, and they did get others, but they were aware. But shows you the narrow mindedness and the whole thing where it didn't have to be that way, because it could have been up a lot sooner. But also shows you the greatness of the talent of the pool that was there, because these cats definitely made a lasting impression. And it's still felt to this day, especially if you're a fan of it. So it's just one of those things where uh, it's incredible to read the records. It's incredible to see the historical implications. And then you just appreciate what they overcame even much more, which also goes to show they really did need Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball needed them. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Imagine the careers that didn't get that opportunity that were dominant and great and left an impact. Please like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands. Keep your mind clear. Watch out for another initiative. If you like and hit that membership, stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free, and know some of your history. You'd be surprised. Great.